If you spent much time at all watching my autism and ADHD meme videos, then you've probably found that there's a lot of overlap. You might have even found that you relate to a lot of the memes in one when you actually have the other. This is because despite having a lot of differences, ADHD and autism actually have a lot in common. Here are just a few things that ADHD and autism have in common. Remember that not everyone experiences ADHD or autism the same, so these might not be true for everyone. Rejection sensitivity. Rejection is never easy, no matter who you are. But when you have ADHD or autism, it can hit a little bit harder thanks to rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Just in case you've never heard of RSD before, it's an extreme emotional sensitivity, and it can result in feeling physical pain when you are rejected or criticized. RSD is best known with ADHD, but it actually can happen to anyone. Those who are autistic or have ADHD just seem to have it more often. Sleep problems. If you have ADHD or autism, then you're more likely to have problems sleeping. This includes falling asleep and staying asleep. This results in poor quality of sleep and getting less of it than our neurotypical peers. Insomnia is a common problem, and staying awake until 3 in the morning, like I did last night, isn't all that rare. Hyperfixations. When you hear about hyperfixations, you most commonly hear it in relation to autistic special interests, but these same hyperfixations are present with ADHD as well. They are most obvious when we find a new project and obsess over it for weeks, sometimes to the point of burnout. During an ADHD hyperfixation, your entire life can get consumed by that one thing, and everything you do will be related to it. Autistic special interests, on the other hand, are more likely to stick with the person for their entire lives, or at least several years, until someone sours the interest for them. Stimming. Stimming might look a little bit different between someone with ADHD and someone with autism, but make no mistake, they are the same thing. In ADHD, you might be chewing on the inside of your cheek, tapping your fingers, or shaking a part of your body, often a foot or a leg. With autism, it might look like rocking back and forth, cracking knuckles, or flapping your arms. However, they are completely interchangeable. Fidget toys are a great outlet for stimming, and they seem to work wonderfully for ADHD and autism. Sensory differences. Both people with ADHD and autism process sensory information differently to a neurotypical person. For one thing, we both have a heightened sensitivity to smell and taste. This is why our comfort foods are so important. We know exactly what to expect from our comfort food, which is typically something highly processed because it will always taste the same every time, unlike something like fruit, which can be different with every single bite. We are also more likely to get overwhelmed by a lot of noise. For me personally, a constant really annoying sound or a really bad smell are enough to put me on edge, and if I can't escape it, then that anger ADHD is so famous for comes out. Executive dysfunction. Executive dysfunction is a broad term that covers a lot of different issues and isn't exclusive to ADHD and autism. It is also often seen with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and even Parkinson's. It often relates to an inability to stay organized, manage time, or getting easily distracted when it's paired with ADHD. When it presents with autism, you might see someone struggling to switch between tasks, forgetting to make yourself lunch, and a difficulty with self-care. Emotional regulation issues. Remember that ADHD anger issue I mentioned? ADHD and anger often go hand in hand, but that emotional regulation issue isn't limited to ADHD. It can happen with autism as well. Anxiety and depression, along with substance abuse, are quite common, and there are times when it may seem like both are overreacting to something seemingly minor. Parallel play. A mutual love of parallel play is one of the reasons why you so often see couples where one has ADHD and the other is autistic. You don't need to be playing together or working on the same task to benefit from it. One of you can be playing video games while the other's reading a gossip magazine, but because you're sitting right next to one another, it feels like you're having fun together. Similar communication methods. When you're listening to a friend or family member tell a story, do you tell a similar one back? Sharing a time when that exact same thing happened to you? This can sometimes be misunderstood as trying to one-up the person or always having to be the center of attention. But for the neurodivergent, it's how we show that we relate. We understand because we've been through the very same thing before. Info dumping is something that both also commonly engage in. When we get excited about something, we want to tell someone everything we know, which is how I ended up spending 45 minutes learning about Warhammer in the middle of a convention. The friend telling me about it was just so excited I wasn't going to stop him. I also don't have the heart to mention that thanks to my ADHD memory issues, I don't remember a thing he said, but I do remember how excited he was. Gastrointestinal issues. It's a bit of a nicky topic, I know, so I'm not going to go into any details, but just know that neurodivergent people are more likely to have bathroom-related upsets than neurotypicals. Just keep in mind that with both autism and ADHD, you're more likely to be diagnosed with an irritable bowel problem. And that's the last one for this video. There are, of course, many other similarities between autism and ADHD. Keep in mind that it is also possible to have both ADHD and autism, which is one of the reasons why self-diagnosis of these isn't always enough. If you'd like to know more about that, you can find my recent video on self-diagnosing ADHD in the card up above. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Come back again tomorrow as I'm releasing a new video every day throughout October in honor of ADHD Awareness Month. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you again tomorrow.